Good evening and season greetings to all. We're on the sports desk, brand new sports desk. I have with me again my colleague and good friend, always with me. I was holding down the fort. Paul on the ball, good evening.
Good evening, Carl. I'm so happy to have a good friend. I've been elevated now.
Oh, you always been my good friend.
Yeah, okay.
Just as you're my bestest friend now.
Okay, okay. I wonder why.
But you know, it's not just about us.
Topics?
No, and it's just not about us. We got a heavy hitter in there.
We do. All Madrid is as heavy as they come.
That's what I'm talking about. So,
and over 40s. Over 40s.
Let's introduce.
Yes. Well, Humphrey Lou. They have been champions many times. This time I think they were runners up in Antigua in the over 40s tournament, and they're going to be, they're going to be favorites to win the over 40s here in
before you go any further with that, I know. I've spoken to some other guys. They've been for a run.
You think so? I don't know. Not the way they played in Antigua. I don't think.
Well, Antigua's a different kettle of fish, So,
you think?
Yeah, it's home now, so he has to.
He has to perform.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes, Humphrey, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Paul already spilled the beans on you, but we're talking what?
Soccer.
You all say soccer, we say football.
Well, Carl told me before the show to say soccer.
Oh, man.
No problem.
But Paul is English, so.
Yes, I say football. Really. I wanted to say football, but Carl gave me that look.
My friends back home will tell me soccer is only what the Americans call it, but it's football for the rest of the world.
That's correct. That's correct.
So we heard some good news about Old Madrid, so let us in.
Well, yes, we just came back from Antigua, where we made it to the semifinals, actually.
Okay.
And ended up in third place in the Cool and Smooth Masters tournament.
Wow,
there.
cool and smooth.
To cap off a decent year. We had some good results this year, winning one tournament and coming second in another and third. So we might be old, but we still have a few.
You might be old, but you're still Madrid.
That's it.
but I like that saying. You might be old, but you still can move, right?
Yeah, well, yes.
You see, what we lack in
all
speed.
All the children, please lock off now. Carl has gone to a different mode.
what we lack in speed, we now still make up for it with skill. So.
I'm glad that you said that because we have the 40+ games that's going on right now in netball and basketball, and it's pretty much about the same age category. And we have a big, Paul, I must let you know, just a whole on the home field. We have a big All-Star weekend this weekend. We have
we do.
The netballers having an All-Star game, and we have two big games that's coming up. We have the guys from the East going up against the guys from Lower State.
Oh.
And we got the undefeated Disciples going up against undefeated Surfers.
When is that happening?
This is happening this Saturday, Paul.
Over 40s?
Yes.
Because the guys from the East in the under 40s are playing in Virgin Gorda on Friday night in the finals.
So lots of things going on this weekend.
Yes, you didn't
we're not talking. No, I understand that. Yes, I know.
You look confused. The same guys from the East are playing in Virgin Gorda on Friday night.
But the older guys now.
The over 40s, yes.
The over 40s are actually playing here.
Yes.
So it's a big weekend. I mean,
it's a big weekend.
We have Andrew Foy and his Surfers.
Is that Friday night or Saturday night?
Saturday night.
Oh, that's Friday.
We have 88 and his guys going up against. They're both undefeated.
So you're fine. Friday night Eastern play.
But you know what?
Sorry.
There's a lot of trash talking going on, Paul.
Well, Carl, once you're around, there's always going to be a lot of
Andrew Foy and 88 teams, they're undefeated. So, Andrew said 88 beat them when he was younger. They're older now, so it's a different ball game.
It's his turn now.
It's a different ball game.
So JTV was defeated?
Oh man, let me tell you about my good colleague here. So he played for JTV.
Bestest colleague.
What sport are we talking about?
Yeah,
basketball.
Basketball.
Right.
Yeah, I know it's a shocker for me too.
Right. By the way, I goalkeeper for the national football.
Well, that I remember.
So I am an invited player over 40s. Yes, I'm hoping I get a pick up.
We're going to get an invitation for 2014.
He's just trying to get on your good team, but come on any other team.
Madrid could do with a good goalkeeper. Come on.
So what are you trying to say?
Well, don't forget we just got MVP award. For the best goalkeeper,
Is it? Well,
you're gonna have some stiff competition.
You haven't seen me though.
That's what we're talking about.
True.
He still thinks he's 16.
Size, you're hearing it here, right? You're getting some competition right here.
He still thinks he's 16. As I saw him play basketball, man, I can tell you.
So,
guys, if you never saw Paul play basketball, come out and watch JTV teams. It's a thrill to watch.
Wait, what position does he play?
Spectacular.
What position? Guard, forward?
Yeah, he's guard. He's guard. But there's a guy that's a lot older than him. It's a lot quicker than him. I mean,
who is that?
Oh, You don't know?
No.
Edjuenka, I have to say a shout out to you. You're my bestest player on the team, Edjuenka. You've done a lot better than Paul has doing. So you stick and stay.
So Edjuenka plays better guy.
I don't know what he's on. This guy is loaded, man.
Lots of energy.
Wow.
Oh, man. It seems like you get, the older you get, is the...
The energy is still there. I'm telling you, the energy is still there.
But you just made a good statement. The older you get, the more skills you get.
Well,
More
yeah,
skillful.
you probably get a bit slower.
You get slower, but it's
but
a
you
lot
still
more
have the same
skillful.
skill, and you actually get more skillful. You have
Yes,
to make
yes.
up for the lack of speed.
Correct.
You know,
Because
so,
I saw the East has the youngest 40-plus team.
right.
And they played against Disciples. And Disciples hammered them.
Wow.
And these, I mean, when they played against us, they ran us up and down the court like you know, we were fools trying to keep up with them. They were the younger ones.
Right.
But Disciples look at they put a whooping on them. So you weren't there for that game, Paul. It was exciting.
I wasn't there for the game, but what I've realized is that when you played against these younger fellas, you really have to have a good defensive team.
You have to take them out of their game.
Otherwise, they're going to run you up and down the court. And
Right.
we allow them to run
Exactly.
by playing bad defense. This
Exactly.
is we being JTV. But if everybody on the team was on the same page
Right.
and started playing defense rather than focusing on offense,
Right.
we would have shut them out, and then it would have become an Evil Stevens game. It would have been a low-scoring game, but somebody would have, you know, I would say somebody, we would have had a better chance of winning the game.
Well, that's what happened because you know, those guys are a quicker team.
Yeah.
But the older guys slowed them and took them out of the game. So, you know, like you said, on the inside, now these guys, you know, they're strong on the inside.
Well,
so.
this is it. You know, you have to play smarter.
Skill, yeah,
That's
exactly,
it. You have to
exactly,
play smarter. Slow it down and play smarter. And you're quite right. Defense actually is key there because, you know, we might not score as many goals in football terms, but if we can prevent them from scoring, you know, we have a chance at a counter attack,
Right.
or they'll get frustrated. What happens is a lot of times these younger guys feel like they should, you know, just wipe us off the field.
They want to jump on you one time.
And when they see that they're not really getting, you know, the
Yeah.
results that they're looking for, they get frustrated.
frustrated.
And that's when we have a chance to counter attack and score.
Absolutely.
So that's what happens quite a bit.
Adding to what he said, Paul, when we actually started playing the 40 games, we tried to play a game against the younger ones. And we started 12-12 and team players. And as we were playing, we realized that the younger team were getting frustrated and they were all dropping off. They ended up with 5 players. And they won the game by 1 point.
You see?
And we still had because you see, we took them out of their game, like you said. We played a better defensive game. They couldn't get inside like how they wanted. And maybe we'll hold on to a couple of them because they were moving a little too fast. But you know, we had to slow them down. And they got so frustrated, they ended up with 5 players and won us by 1 point.
It's I mean, for us, the beauty of it is, though, when we do have a chance to play against, you know, other masters, as we call ourselves, you know,
Yes.
40 and plus, then it becomes a level playing field.
Of
Because
course,
all
of
of us
course.
are in the same boat.
Always slow.
So the strategy is different. You know, we can slow down the game and then
Yes.
focus more on you know, passing the ball and ball control, etc. Without having to worry about, you know, the speed of the opponent as much.
Which is
you
the
know.
challenge when you're playing over 40 or 40 plus, as we've called it here, because as you become more technical, then you have to have a 40 plus and then a 45 plus.
Right.
Because there's a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well, some countries they have 40 plus, and then they have a 50 plus.
Yeah.
You know, so you have they're
And
both.
absolutely.
And I'm looking into that direction because what I've seen so far is I've seen a lot of where I got the ideas from in the US, I saw those guys were like 60, 65 playing against these 40 guys. And I'm saying, I mean, why is the age difference so? And they said, hey, you know, it's 40 plus.
Yeah.
So the plus can go to whatever.
Yeah.
But these guys are dominating these 40 plus guys because, again, they were like some ex-professional players, some ex-college players. So they're a lot bigger.
It reminds me of several years ago. I don't remember the exact year, but I was coaching the national volleyball team, the women's volleyball team of the BVI, and we were playing in the Cayman Islands, and we played against a team from Cuba, and these were, you know, grandmothers. These were, you know, women who were actually, and they, you know, they were 40 plusers,
Right.
and they beat us because they
Skills.
just, you know, it's the experience that they had.
Yeah.
They still had it, you know, and even though we had younger players, they still beat us at our own game, and so.
But let me ask you, in soccer, sometimes, you know, you for basketball, I've seen that you get carried away, you still think you're 16. Are you guys still doing that in soccer?
Well,
I
you
mean,
know,
in football.
yeah. Sometimes the mind is willing, but
Exactly,
the body
exactly,
reminds you
exactly.
that you know. I mean, right now after this tournament, we had some guys with ice packs on the knees and things like that. So,
But kidding.
But do you guys have the same problem? You can tell when the 40 plus games are going on, the whole place is stink with Bengay. Does that happen with you guys?
we do rub, you know, before, you know, we have the all kinds of different rubs that we use before and
So
and
you do
after the
smell a
match.
different fragrance?
Thankfully, right now, a lot of them are fragrance free. So
Bengay.
exactly, odor free, so it doesn't smell as much. But yes, you'll see us.
But
rubbing
guys, I have to apologize. We don't use Bengay. Okay, because Ben is gay, we don't use it.
Yeah. So anyway, we're here talking football. It's all Madrid. Children, please block your ear when Carl speaks.
Anyways, we're talking football. Go ahead, Paul.
Yes.
And I just want to remind the folks that we're here talking Old Madrid, who made it to the semi-finals. We are live. You can give us a call. Carl's going to give you the number any minute now. And if you look on the side, right behind me here, and Carl's going to point as well behind him.
Yeah, we got some
trophies.
Some trophies.
And these trophies were actually won by Old Madrid. Carl's going to get his, I'm going to get mine.
Yes.
There we go. Old Madrid.
Well, the reason I brought those is, a lot of times teams from the BVI or other places might travel and the results are not always known, or people feel like, we're wasting government's money or sponsors' money. We actually bring results. This is proof that when we go out, we do well and we represent the BVI well. And so I wanted to bring that as proof that even though we are getting on in age, we still bring results.
This one says first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was
Third annual tournament, 2013.
That was in St. Martin early this year where we won the championship.
Yes.
This one is cool and smooth. This is the big one.
That's the one we just
cool
came
and
from.
smooth. These guys, I have to congratulate you guys. I mean, you're showing results.
It's about fun, At our age, we've been playing football for many years. Most of the guys on Old Madrid, or many of us, are former national team players as well here in the BVI. So we've been around the block a few times. But so at this age, it's not about the drive to just win. It's about having fun. But as I tell my players, winning is more fun than losing. So even though we want to have fun, it's still competitive.
Now I have a question. My question is, how does Old Madrid relate the skills and knowledge of the game back towards the youth, or how do they come?
That's a very good question. One of the things that we promised both the association and ourselves is that we will use our knowledge and our skills and our talent and our experience to give back to the sport. And the way we do that is many of our members are coaches, attend different coaching clinics, etc., and help out with, for example, youth football here in the BVI. That there's a very strong school league that's about to start in January, and several of our members are coaching or assisting in that league. To make sure we give back to those who are up and coming now. I think we can probably do more, and it's something that we are going to focus on for this coming year. But yes, several of our members have and will continue to do that, as well as refereeing. I think one of the areas that is lacking in the BVI is a strong referee cadre, a strong board of referees.
Sure.
So we're going to try to get some of our guys to sign up and become more au fait with the refereeing part of the game, especially as they get injured and feel like they can't really play as much anymore. So those are the two areas we're looking at.
I'm glad you mentioned that too, because the aim of our 40 Plus League is basically to show the skill of the games to the young ones who think that they know and the ones who are interested in knowing. Right. And like you said, just giving back, being able to come out and coach, because some of the players never seen the older folks play before and figure, well, hey, we don't know anything about the game.
Yeah.
When they get the opportunity to see you guys up close, I'm like, wow, I didn't know these guys know this kind of stuff.
One of the things that we also try to do is, as you might know, we have our own tournament that we host here every year in November. We started last year and we did it again this year. And one of the things that's always featured is a few of the exhibition matches with both youth as well as women, because we can't forget about the women, young women as well as seniors. So that's another way where we try to promote and highlight, the sport at different ages and different levels, because the youth is the future, and we have to focus on them. As much as people sometimes forget about us who have been around the block a few times, we certainly can't forget about the youth, because that's where we look at that talent for the future. So.
Now, Humphrey, we're going to take a pause for a cause to thank our sponsors, who are Roton Wholesale Lime, and of course Speedies, who gets us across to Virgin Gorda for the Summer Jam finals. When we come back, more with Humphrey Lou and the Old Madrid champions. They've been champions, first runner-up and second runner-up this year. So stick and stay, more football right after this break from our sponsors.
Sports Desk is sponsored by Lime, the better, faster 4G network.
Welcome back, folks, and season greetings to you again. If you're trying to reach us, our numbers are on the screen. Numbers are 541-7541. If you want to call us, if you want to send a text, it's the same number, 541-7541. Call us, entertain in our studios. We have with us Old Madrid, one of the veterans players, and I think team captain or coach, Humphrey Lou, is no stranger when it comes to football. And if you want to convert football to soccer, we're talking about the same thing. So, Paul, we were talking on a commercial break. You had some questions you wanted to ask my good friend?
Well, before we get to that, I just want to remind the folks who are listening that we will be having, coming up next, the tropical shootout. Many people have been asking, is it on and is it off? Well, we have the men in charge coming up next, right after the next break. So don't touch that dial. We'll be talking basketball, NCAA style, right after the next break. And that should be pretty exciting stuff.
Nice,
you have to stay and listen.
I'm going to stick around.
There you go. I'm sure the folks at home want to know what's going to happen with NCAA basketball as well. There you go. Right here in the BVI. Right, Carl?
Back to soccer.
I love Carl. He's
back
my
soccer.
bestest friend.
Your BFF.
BFF.
He's my BFF.
Yes, back to
don't
soccer.
misinterpret that now.
Now, Paul,
Yes.
we had some question when it comes to the youth soccer.
We
We
did?
were talking behind the scenes.
We're going to talk about that now?
Oh, so you're
No,
lost in the
just
conversation
checking.
now? Humphrey, anyway, Humphrey,
Okay, well, I'll go.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
You sure? You want me to go? Okay, Humphrey, you know, you made a point before about the youth and,
Yes.
and youth soccer, and the relationship of that to Old Madrid. Actually, Carl asked the question, and I thought that was quite a relevant question, for the simple reason that, you know, there's a great responsibility for the older folks, well, older meaning the over 40s,
Sure.
to really be given that opportunity to play, because at the end of the day, once those guys are happy and those guys are out there doing stuff, they can now feed back to the younger players. But here's the point that I wanted to make, and maybe you can feed back from there, is that more importantly, the youth team and the national team becomes a genuine reflection of younger players now, rather than us having guys in their 40s playing in the national team. And I know it's a sore point for other guys who are still really good,
Yeah.
and you know, but I mean, if you look at all the players, Viv, you know, Lara, I'm talking cricket now, of course,
Yes.
I'm calling different names, but in football, in any sport you look at, when you get to a certain age, it's time to let the younger guys take over, no matter how good you think you are.
Yeah.
You know, and occasionally, I know an older folk is left back as a captain or as a role model, like how we have Shift and Chandra Paul left back, you know, for the West
Right.
Indies. But generally speaking, you want to see the youngest ones coming through.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's a good point. What happens is, and we spoke about this during the break, you know, sometimes when you've been doing something for many years, you know, you need to take a step back and relax for a bit. But it doesn't mean that you want to completely, you know, give up on the sport altogether. It's a sport that we all love, you know, and we want to be involved. And as I mentioned earlier, there comes a day where we may not be able to play the sport anymore, you know, physical limitations, etc. But it doesn't mean that we cannot contribute in other ways. And one of the ways, obviously, is by giving back, either with coaching or any sort of involvement in the sport. And the youth, obviously, is the choice that we need to look at. But as I said, also sometimes all we need to do is ask someone, you know, rather than expecting them to offer their help. You know, sometimes if someone is asked, you'll be amazed to see what they will do. But if we wait for them to make the move, it may never happen. And so I think that, you know, a lot of the guys that are on certainly on Old Madrid are very willing to continue to contribute to the sport in different ways, playing or, you know, coaching or refereeing or administrators, you know, different things. And so you'll see us getting more involved as the years goes by.
Well, I'll tell you one of the ways that guys in Madrid can really get involved, because you're one of the top teams, well, you are the top over 40s team
Right.
here, and that is in the grassroots program. I recently attended a seminar by CONCACAF here at the complex, and one of the things that they emphasized, that they felt that the true coaches hadn't emerged yet, and they were out there, you know, and they specifically referenced the over 40s and
Right.
said there are guys out there who know the game, who we need in the grassroots program.
Right. You know, one thing that I would like to see here, and I know you, Carl, are doing something in terms of the over 40 competition that you have now. I think we have 2 or 3, you know, official or unofficial teams right now that are what we call masters, 40 and over. I look forward to the day where, like St. Martin, like Antigua, like some of the other island nations around us, we can have a league of a Masters League, right? Because then you bring in more people into the sport, and those can then not only compete against each other, but collectively give back to the sport and get involved in other areas as well. Right now, Old Madrid is really the only recognized Masters team in the BVI. There are two others that participate in our tournament, but they don't really play in the league as Masters.
And why is that?
Well, I think generally there haven't really been enough players of our age to come together and form clubs and teams. So I think, as the years go by, obviously players get older.
Right.
There will be more players.
But Humphrey, you kind of said something that let the cat out of the bag that I didn't have a conversation with my colleague about yet. It's pertaining to the same thing that you're saying. I know we've started a league in the different areas of 40 plus, and we after each league there's a tournament.
Right.
So I mean, the feedback that I've been getting from some of the countries, so much wanting to play in these tournaments. The idea that came to me is, why not make this tournament an OECS 40 plus tournament?
The ones that we have?
The leagues that we're doing, and the different tournaments that's coming.
Well, it's actually interesting you say that. This past weekend when we were in Antigua, the gentleman who's the president of the host club and I, Andre Alexander, we had a conversation, and they are actually speaking to their government and other regional CFU members to see if there can be a regional Masters tournament, just like you have indeed, the CFU for the senior teams and national teams, to have a seniors circuit where you have veterans, over 40 playing on a proper, organized tournament and playing against each other.
The thought came to me. I had a meeting with all the teams before, because we're going through the second part of our league right now.
Right.
So, I said to them, the tournament is soon approaching, and there's so much countries involved. These are the same countries we played when we were younger playing OECS basketball.
Yeah.
Why don't we just organize it as an OECS Masters League,
right,
and different sports?
It's certainly a good idea. It's going to take a lot of effort and financing to organize it.
Yeah, it's a very good idea. There are 9 OECS countries or territories that comprise the whole OECS,
right.
And presently, I think we're in a I can say a good situation in that the OECS sports desk has not been functioning, although they themselves don't quite want to. Anyway, so they haven't been functioning. So the ministers of government have actually taken over the OECS sports desk, but they've only done so because they want to hand it back to the sports desk.
Right.
Now I say that to say that I think this is a good time if you're going to bring anything else in that is new now,
right.
Because they're going to be open to things that are happening in the OECS right now, because there aren't any set things happening in the OECS. Because as with Carl, I remember, a few years ago when we were still competing, OECS was a big thing right across the board.
Sure. OECS and Texaco.
Absolutely.
Games,
the Texaco Games. Yeah. It was huge in the 1990s, and and there it was a big thing. And so therefore, the whole OECS region now wants to see these things come back. And what has happened is that the bigger islands have not suffered from this, because they have still been able to compete, and they've competed against the bigger islands.
Exactly.
So in other words, the bigger OECS islands, in other words, have been able to compete against the Jamaicas and the Barbados and still been able to do well.
Right.
But whereas the smaller nations, smaller territories, have suffered,
yes,
and have become dormant in a lot of these sports. So it is a valid point that Carl is making.
I agree.
And which is why I've said to him already, and I've said it on the air, that long term, we have to take seriously the over 40s.
Yeah. No, it's certainly something that it's being talked about now. As I said, Antigua might take the lead in this, and I've certainly pledged that from Old Madrid's perspective, and I think if I can speak for the BVI, in terms of football, it's something that we want to support.
You're ready to go,
and hopefully to see develop.
But I tell you what, Senator Winston Williams, who is the Minister for Sport in Antigua, is very much, and he's one of the guys who was spearheading this march for the OECS. So if Antigua wants to spearhead that, I can promise you it will happen.
But I have another question before you go ahead too. How do you feel athletes or past athletes taking up position as administrators and coaches and stuff like that? You think it's a good idea for them in those areas once they're finished with the sport?
I think it's a good idea. As I said, you cannot replace the knowledge and experience that they have. The best situation I think is when you have a mix of people who are players who are active in the sport, and others who may be independent and who come from different backgrounds. But I think it's an invaluable thing to have, former players as administrators, as coaches, as referees, etc. Because they've been there, they understand the sport, they love the sport, they want to give back to the sport, and there's many different ways to do that. So I certainly think that it's it will be a shame, and it's a shame when we have players who've been around and who've contributed, especially on national levels, to then wither away, and nobody knows what happened to them and where they are.
What about administrating and still playing? You think it's either one or the other, or you think both can work?
Well, that's a difficult one. I mean, I'm the president of my club, so I'm an administrator in that sense, but I'm still playing. And if I can take myself as an example, I think it can work. But at some point, you probably need to be able to dedicate, yourself, and playing takes too much time and may eventually cause some sort of a conflict. So
I don't think it's a bad thing in the over 40s league.
Right.
And certainly not here because of our size and the limited number of teams that are playing.
That's true.
In a regular league where we're talking about a national team being developed, I think there's a definite conflict of interest there.
Being a player and an administrator.
And that becomes a challenge. And so that has to be looked at, and we do have situations where that has happened.
Well, yes, in an ideal world, you want to have totally different.
In a real world,
in the BVI,
because you need dedicated time to, like he said, to the sport, and at the same time, you need dedicated players to the sport.
Especially if you're a player and you're one of the better players, and suddenly you have to make administrative decisions which affects your team.
Well,
you know that if you make the wrong decision, it could be your team not winning the league. It certainly becomes a challenge.
It is.
So we have to be aware of that. Nevertheless, we are running out of the tyranny of the clock.
Yes.
So Humphrey, we're going to give you some final words about your wonderful old Madrid, which we're so impressed with.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell the BVI public, old Madrid is here to stay. We've been around a long time, and we continue to do what we can. We look forward to continued support locally as well as internationally. And to the members watching, guys, again, congratulations, job well done, and let's keep up the good work, both here and overseas.
Well, from my perspective, I'd just like to say we're hoping to see Old Madrid when it comes to the 40-plus football league. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. Once we get through with these two games, we're coming back at soccer, so I'm hoping that you can assist me in getting some more of those older guys, even if I have to drop the age at 35.
But we have enough 40-plus.
Okay, we're good to go. And you 40-plus guys that's out there, like I said, we come knocking on your door again, so be ready when we come. Because the league is going to be good, as you can see. Humphrey already doing great things, and I want to congratulate you and your team.
Thank you very much.
So we're looking forward for good things in the 40-plus soccer football league.
Wow, soccer football. It sounds like rugby football there. Humphrey, I just want to say, from an administrative perspective, really impressive as to how you've run the 40-plus league, because it's a lot of work to be doing all that administration and still playing, and you've done that admirably. And kept the media and everybody informed. Hence the reason why we were able to catch you and get you here. And so I want to commend you on that, and so happy to hear that you guys are going to be putting back with the youngsters and what have you. Again, that's more work, already onto what you're doing already.
Well, it's a team effort. I have a lot of support, and I must say the executive as well as the other members are very much involved in everything. So even though I don't just delegate, I get involved. I have a lot of help. So.
I like the word. I like how you said that word.
But delegate. Well, speaking of delegate, Carl has now delegated me to take a pause for a cause. He's also delegated me to mention that when we come back, we're going to be talking basketball. It's tropical shootout. Is it going to be on? Isn't it? Well, there's going to be a committee here to tell us exactly what is happening.
Sports Desk is sponsored by Lime, the better, faster 4G network.